hands. My name is Dr. Cortez D. Sims, affectionately known as Coach Sims. And whenever this video is going to find you, I just know that you're going to be really, really blessed for what I have to talk about today. And before you can even, I can even get started, just press share with a lot of people, press like, press subscribe on my YouTube channel. It's going to be on there too as well, because I want to talk about 4 tips to approach unsettled emotions. I want to give you 4 tips that's going to help you settle your unsettled emotions. How to approach it. What do I do? How do I deal with it? How do I come at it, as we like to say? And so 4 tips I will give it to you real quick, because the reality is a lot of people have all kinds of things going on with them emotionally. And people will often say in these days, hey, I'm feeling some kind of way. I feel some type of way. In all these different ways, some type of way, kind of ways, or I'm in my feelings, or my feelings had the best of me, or I was so easily to be angered. But I want to give you some 4 things that can kind of help you manage that thing in a way of maturity. So then you'll be able to live and prosper and not let things rob you from things that is before you that was already on schedule, but because the emotional thing is out of whack, or out of time, or out of tune. There needs to tune up here. So here's the first tip. The first tip is to come to peace. All right, that's number 1. Number 1 means to come to peace. Number 2 means you need to come to terms. 3, you need to come to an understanding, and 4, you need to come to love yourself more. All right, 4 tips. 4 tips to approach unsettled emotions. All right. So when you have these emotions going on, the one thing to do is you have to identify what they are. But all 4 things you have to come. C-O-M-E, come. You need to come to confront, but you need to come to it and approach it differently. So you need to come to peace. What is peace? Peace comes from God. When it is settled, when it brings serenity, when it brings sovereignty, when it brings a level of things are being at a place of calm where you can really think clearly, when things are quiet. And a lot of people don't operate from a quiet place. They operate from a very chaotic place, very noisy place. And as long as there's noise and things going on, they cannot really clearly operate. And we have to do so much better with that. All right. So come to peace when it comes to that situation. So whatever that situation is, figure out where God is in this. Is he in this at all? And if he's not in that at all, we have to dismiss that so we can come to a place of peace, because that's what's happening. If there's no peace there, God is not there. All right. Second thing, come to terms. Terms as in a way of definition. I need to define what's going on. Once I define what's going on with this, okay, let me come to terms of what this really is. So if I am unhappy, what's the definition of unhappiness? If something needs to be forgiven, then what's the definition of forgiveness? Look it up. Look up the actual term of it. Come to the place and be like, all right, I need to just really get myself together. I need to look at this from a mature point of view. Well, what is maturity? Find out what maturity means. All right. And if it's maturity that I define is when you have to think of it from a futuristic point of view. What do I want the future to look like? How do I want to feel next week the way I'm approaching it today? A lot of people deal with things from an immature place, which means that they deal with the current. You're in your feelings. You ready to go ahead and be a hothead about it. You ready to fight. But see, after you calm down, after everything is done within 72 hours, 2 or 3 day period, they want to know, who are you then? And then you can't go back and try to correct all the stuff that you said that was very, very inappropriate. There's too much damage control. All right. Well, it's too much damage that you need to control, I should say. But this is more damage control. This is very, very preventative stuff. All right. Number 3, come to an understanding. All right. Come to an understanding about the situation when it comes to your emotional, your emotion that needs to be settled. So what is the understanding? Understanding the simply is when you're trying to when you're reasoning all information that is in front of you. You're trying to reason and figure out, all right, how do I negotiate with this? How do I come to terms? And if I'm not clear, let me ask other people who seems to be an expert. If they're not experts, but they have a little bit more knowledge, wisdom, and some understanding on how can I balance these things out so I can operate better. Because know that God has enough people in the earth and in the world to help you settle things if you are not being incooperative and inappropriate with just your help that's around you. So come to an understanding, reasoning all information that's in front of you of why, your emotions is not settled. You need to settle these things. Number 4, come to love yourself more. All right. Stop leaving yourself out. Tell yourself, hey, I need to love myself more than this. I need to come to grips and say, I'm worth more than this. I'm worth more than that, which is usually what's been presented to you or what you've came into the room to. So 4 tips. All right. But here's the main thing. C-O-M-E, come. You only can come to something that you allow yourself to be invited to. All right. Also, you usually come to things that you are invited to. So if you're not invited to something, then figure out how you can invite yourself to come to a place to how to approach these unsettled things. And it's better that you are settled with these emotions versus to live from an emotional place. It's very dangerous to make decisions from a very emotional place. If you're a hothead and you know you're a pistol, and I'm saying this to some people that we know other people that operate like this, and they're easily tempered, they can easily be triggered. Those are a lot of unsettled and unhealed wounds that makes them lash out as a result of those emotions. Emotions are usually the expression of what's going on with you mentally. So if you think about something or you have to think about what you have to process, emotionally it's expressed. So I want to give you some emotional tools out of the 4 tips so you can be able to approach your unsettled emotions. Please send this to a couple of people. This is not a long out video, but it was just on me to let people know that in this season, especially around the holidays when the emotions are at an all-time high, there are a lot of people feeling all kind of ways, all type of ways. All right. Because a lot of things are happening right now. A lot of people are breaking up in relationships because you'd be surprised how many people are breaking up in relationships to avoid not buying a gift because of Christmas, or avoid not trying to come to the invitation because now you've been around long enough. People want to have you around. And if people really, really don't want to be with you, they start breaking up with you or finding things or finding ways to not want to have you around and try to do all kind of stuff. And you're like, wow, this is painful. This is the time that I want to come closer. So a lot of these preventative things that I want to share with you, that I'm sharing with you now, I want to just kind of put it in your spirit, put it in your frontal lobe, put it in your heart to operate from this position. Let's try to approach things so we can settle these emotions, because we have a lot of unsettled emotions. All right. Once again, come to peace with it. Say, God, help me be at peace with this situation. Help me be at peace with what I'm feeling. Help me be at peace that if I'm feeling something, show me how to have peace about it. Okay. And then come to terms, and we come to terms and go, it's not going to get any better than this. It would be very delusional to think it can go further than this. And all the answers keep coming up the same. So that's something that I'm fighting, accepting thing. So I'm so unsettled because I can't put my finger on it. When you usually make statements to say, I can't put my finger on it, and that's because it's not meant for you to have a hold of it. All right. That is usually stuff that God wants to show you. He don't want you to be responsible for something that you can't have and embrace. You only embrace what you can hug. You only embrace where you can be able to give love. But when things don't want to be loved, and when people don't want to love you in return, initially, not as a response, I want to talk about that. Because a lot of people are showing you love based upon how they responded to your love. All right? I'll give you this little tip, this little test, see if it works. In the next 2 weeks, from this video, that you watch this video, in the next 2 weeks, I dare you to lay back on calling anybody, unless it's bill collectors and all those primary things. But I challenge you not to call anyone, and see how many people call you just to initiate, not out of responding to your phone calls and your text messages. And watch when they say stuff like, hey, I haven't heard from you. You would have called me by now. So how much am I on your radar for prayer? How much am I on your radar when you think of me as a friend? So you have a lot of people who just respond to you, but they don't initiate to you. All right. That's very emotionally traumatic. All right. So just want to give you that. I discovered with doing that 2-week period that you even have to discipline yourself of not doing all the reach out. A lot of people do a lot of reach outs because they're trying to feeling some type of relevance to that person. They're really trying to figure out, do I mean anything to them? So to keep from being in a position of being vulnerable, which is another emotion, to keep from being in a position to be vulnerable, if somebody would approach me or think about me, I'd rather just eliminate that. I don't want to know. I'm in fear. I'm scared to even know. And God doesn't want you to operate from that no more. He doesn't want you to operate from things you don't know. Proverbs says, in all you're constantly getting, get the understanding. All right. So that's why I made number 3. Come to an understanding, reasoning of all information that's in front of you. And you have to be able to say, this is what I know as an understanding. This is the terms that I came to, and this is the peace I got to have from God about it. So guess what I'm going to do is the last fourth point. I'm going to come to love myself more. How do I love myself more? I need to love myself more by raising my value and see that I'm a great person. All right. And I don't have to be perfect to be great. Great just means enormous of doing great things in a better way. I can have a positive outlook in a great way. All right. Great is not necessarily a positive. It's really enormous. It's really the elasticity of size. All right. So love yourself more. Come to a place of loving you more. Hey, I've lost some people. So you know what that says? Since I'm not going to be doing everything alone, more people are going to come into my life. New people. Let me make sure that I'm not scared of new people. All right. Opening up my life. Trusting in a positive way. These are people who I do not have a history with. So what can they damage me with? Right? And we have to make sure that we're not bringing damage to them. Let's be fair with that. It's two sides. All right. And the truth that comes from God. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men from all cultures and women from all cultures, sides, and everywhere across the country, let's stop leaving yourself out. Let's deal with those unsettled emotions. Let's approach it differently. So then we can be able to say, okay, I can do this. And then guess what we have to do? Pass the information to someone else who's in a place of a lot of tumultuous tyranny. They are suffering really, really bad because they can't seem to figure out because it's unsettled. All right. So I just want to give you 4 tips that I've shared in some recent coaching this week that we need to approach it differently. It's so unsettled. It's not settled. And once it's settled, you'll be able to navigate and know what to do next. You'll be able to live. And then guess what? Once it's settled, don't go back and unearth it. When God deals with you to bury these things, let it be underneath your feet so you can walk over it, and you can have a nice plateau. You can have a patio to say, now I can lay my carpet down, lay my good furniture down, and I can say, okay, now this thing is underneath my feet. And even when I feel like it's going to rise up, it's underneath my feet, right? It's not going to be able to just find ways to come through the cracks and try to attack me. We can't live like that. That is not the way to live. Let's approach unsettled. It's unsettling. And the reason why I like to speak it like this is because this is a time when a lot of suicidal thoughts are kicking in. This is a lot of times when a lot of people don't feel loved by loved ones or neither the counterparts around them. This is also a time when people are measuring. This is good, Lord, good God. A lot of people are measuring how much you love them based upon how much of a gift you're going to spend with them. Whereas they missed the real gift. The real gift is that I'm alive to hug you. There's a gift that, I can call you. We can spend some time with each other. That's the gift. The gift is not my monetary result to let me see how much you love me based upon what you buy for me. Well, what if you walk into a place in your life that you decide not to buy anything from anybody, and now these expectations is all over you, are all on you for you to produce and to perform and to put on. No. That's not the way that goes. I dare you to say, hey, all year long, I've been celebrating you. And you're expecting for a gift to come out of me because it's somebody else's birthday, a celebratory birthday, which is called Christmas. Whether people think it's satanic, whether people think it's not the wrong day. The whole premise of these holidays coming up is so it's on the calendar because people won't do it on a regular basis. So it is set aside to acknowledge a Savior because we are in a Christianic country. It's a Judeo-Christian. It was built upon those principles. All right. So when people say, oh, it's man-made up, well, God uses people to help his plan. So we need to get past those things. So those are a lot of unsettled questions, unsettled reactions, unsettled emotions, and we have to walk forward much, much better than the place that we've been in. So 4 tips. I said this one last time. Please share with some other people because they need to hear outside of you because a lot of people are angry and they are mad at you. They have expectations on you that you cannot fulfill. And don't be ashamed and don't feel bad about it. So come to peace with that situation. I need to come to peace with this is not working. And it's okay. A lot of our promotions is based upon coming to peace with God. Peace comes from God. You can't go to Walmart and buy peace. You cannot go to Target, Marshall Fields, Macy's to go buy peace. And some people, the reason why that they're operating like they're operating because they're not peaceful and they don't even present peace. Peace comes freely because it was a sacrifice that was done for those who are believers. But even if you don't operate like that, you can always tell when people bring peace. They operate in peace. Peace, come to terms, come to an understanding, and come to love yourself more. This is your guy, Dr. Cortez D. Sims. Please share with your people, your friends, and everybody that you know. And I have some other upcoming topics that is really, really been on me. But these holidays, ladies and gentlemen, because I deal a lot with behavior health and people who deal with just the tumultuous pressure, and the struggle of anguish and just angry about who they don't have or who don't love them. Let's spend time with praying for these people and checking up on them. Give them a wellness check, as we call it. Show them some love, because a lot of things are going on with people. And this is why suicidal rates rise up very, very high in these next 2 months because of what's happening. All right? Love you. Take care and take charge. Be at peace.